Hey, welcome back. Writing a book in a week. Chapter 19, can you believe it? This is awesome. Even if this is the first video you're watching on this, you wanna like preview what's coming up at the end, stay. Watch this video, watch it till the end, and then start over again. That'll be awesome. Thank you for showing up. And I gotta dispel this. This isn't as hard as it seems. Write a book in a week. 2 weeks ago. this is the and then this is something. This is the preview. This is the beta version of write a book in a week. This is the first time I've done this specifically. But what I've done is I've shot hundreds of these videos. I'm on the way to shooting 200 videos. Like, I did 20 videos this week, 20 videos the last week. You can see the rate of videos that I make. And so how can I call this write a book in a week? The reason is because I write at about 15 words a second. Right? No, 15 words a minute. Come on, scary math. So I write at about 15 words a minute, but I talk at a rate of 150 words a minute. All right? So that's 10 times. Maybe I write faster, but it feels like I'm writing 15 words a minute, 0 words a minute. So what happens is, over the course of an hour, I'll speak, you'll speak, everyone speaks at this rate, 150 to 166 words a minute. If you speak too fast, people will tell you. If you speak too slow, people will tell you, right? That's how you're trained. You're constantly trained. That's like that imposter. It's an imposter syndrome, right? And then the imposter syndrome is linked to, oh, wait a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, so I thought I lost my notes. Okay, chapter 19. I gotta get chapter 9. I didn't even switch to chapter 19. Chapter 19, the sequels. Oh my gosh, I gotta make sure the sequels are in view. Somewhere here. There we go. There we go. I'm just setting this up. Beautiful day here. One of the things that primes your creativity is just being willing to just talk about anything, and you'd be surprised that you'll be right on topic. So sequels, the next books. So I was saying in the preview for this, in the last video, that you get ideas for the next books towards the end of writing the book you're doing. And this book is this book that I'm writing, it's an instruction book. So the ending is going to be a little different than if you're writing a fiction book. And so a fiction book might end somewhere around what I'm telling you is the 18th/19th chapter. And so something that I have to share with you is that even though I'm gearing this for levels 1 through 3, I'm using levels 1 through 10, 1 through 11, because I'm just not telling you. And I want to go through and do the full 19 question analysis of how I speak and see how often I hit all 19 points. It's probably much more often than I think, because we're programmed. And we'll fight to keep the program going. We'll fight amongst ourselves. This is how it happens. So that's why you have to be positive. Be positive, and this is how you change lanes. This is how you go from being a non-writer to writer with an idea, to a writer who started, writer who has a working title, writer who has a fragment of their story written already, writer who takes their idea and throws it into the story pattern, and a story pops out. So what are the sequels? Did I lose it? What the heck happened here? Okay, next book. So let's see. So this was inspired by this author who was saying there's a fantasy explosion. There's all these fantasy books, and then another author says, you know, all these new fantasy books, all these new fantasy writers. But it turns out that there's a lot of fantasy writers that show up online, which is kind of counterintuitive. You'd think they'd show up in like sylvan pastures. You think they'd be going out in the wilds and learning how to live off the land, get back to nature. But instead they're in forums that are run by AIs now. And so there's a fantasy explosion. And another writer was saying, no, it's because of Romantasy. There's more Romantasies, making it seem like there's more fantasies. And then that reminds me of Dungeons and Dragons. My Dungeons and Dragons friends say, oh, Dungeons and Dragons, are they out of business yet? It's like, well, no, you aged out. You aged out. You played it out, right? My friends, they played too much of it. So self-publishing. So I was getting all crazy about, like, you write the book the first week and then you and then you send it to the publisher the next week, right? And you could do that. One of the things that, well, it's probably obvious, is that I've done 100 of these videos. So in that time, I learned how to structure the videos, if you'd call this structure, and then so now I can structure the videos for the week. Well, I've been able to do that because, yes. Good morning. Dog. So I've been structuring these videos like that, and it's because I found this structure that structures everything. So the book that follows this, I want to look into self-publishing. I want to look into the Zeignarik. I want to see, can I do a whole book on that in a week? Is it possible? Who am I to do it? But I gotta try. I'm doing these, right? I did an opportunity evaluation attestment. Look those up in the description below if you're new here today. Okay, so the self-publishing book, the Zeignarik book, a book a day. So that would be a higher level class, the book a day, because that would be people who writers that would take that class would be those who have taken the 4-week book, right? Because, you know, books are important. So you spend like 4 weeks on it, and out of those 4 weeks, spend at least 2 hours a week, 2 hours a week on it, right? So it's 8 hours to make that 4-week book. Yeah, that's more than this, because I did 5 hours for this. So 3 extra hours, you could get a lot more detail. Now the editing, editing a book, I'll leave that for the professionals. No, I won't leave that for a professional. How to edit a book. Write a book. I'm going to write a book in a week. Are you following this? I'm going to write a book in a week. These are sequels to this book. I'm going to write a book in a week about how to edit a book. Can I do that at levels 1 through 3? Are you editing at levels 1 through 3? Yeah, because you can complete the book. So what would editing look like? I still think that's getting into analysis. That's higher level. So maybe it's not. Yeah, at this level, there's a hummingbird over here. Yeah. Did you see it? So small. Probably looks like a flying ant in the video here. I never saw a hummingbird that had a yellow back like that. All right. Those are the books. So what do you think? Do you think this book, this weak book, do you think this weak book could help you write your book? I know that just hearing about the attestment problem with new writers never get to attestment. They never get to the point, right? So every loop is open. Every storyline is open, like the Zeignarik, that you remember things that are, oh yeah, you get people to forget your mistakes. So you write a terrible passage, but you get to the part that matters the most, and then you move on, and people will forget that. But if you write terribly all the way through, and you don't get to the point that matters most anywhere, then everybody's going to remember that everything was troublesome. Interesting concept. Yeah, this is getting close to the fourth video where I go off track, but in a good way, because I'm getting tired. It's the attestment period, so it's like I want to close all these things. I want to get rid of these things, right? I don't want you to remember them. This is fun. Okay, so I know when I start laughing after everything, I'm closing all these loops. This has been an awesome chapter. The value of it is if you're writing a series, and I guess the value of it is also that if you're writing a standalone book, you have to close up all these things unless artistic license, unless leaving some things open is important for the book to stand alone. Incredible. All right, preview for the next one. Olympus, chapter 20. I gotta find chapter 20. Why are you here? Why are you here? What have you gotten out of this? And it's kind of a theoretical bonus chapter. This might qualify in your book as like an appendix. Maybe this is an appendix, and I should just change it to the appendix, not chapter 20. Anyway, I'll see you next time. See you there.